City News honors Black History Month. As new development moves in, there's a concern that one of Charlotte's historic black communities is being wiped away. As Queen City News anchor Julian Sador explains, the West End was once the place to be for black businesses, churches, schools, and entertainment until it began to unravel.
Wow, I feel good.
Charlotte's West End,
I knew that I wouldn't die.
in its heyday, was a hub for black excellence. And the Excelsior Club was a beacon of that. The great James Brown, just one of many to grace its stage. Nowadays, though, it looks like this, a project under repair by a California developer, a representation of what the West End is seeing as a whole. But to understand how we got here, you first have to understand what happened here.
How would you describe the community at Sub?
For me, it was totally nurturing.
Thelma Byers-Bailey recalls moving into Lincoln Heights in the 1940s when she was just in diapers.
I could walk in any house, and in fact, when my parents were still moving into the house, I took off with my blanket and my bottle, and I walked down the street and I knocked on the door and I said, "I'm Peach Byers," and I walked right past them and looked in the refrigerator and just made myself to home.
As she says, it was a time when neighbors felt more like an extended family. Everyone looked after one another. The success of the historically black college, Johnson C. Smith University, had in part resulted in several black neighborhoods, even some middle-class ones, thriving up and down Beatty's Ford Road.
So it's sort of like the suburban American dream that you hear about so much in the 50s, but this is an African-American neighborhood.
Brandon Lunsford is the director of library services at JCSU, but also their archivist, chronicling the rich history of the West End.
The West End is its own distinct brand of neighborhoods, but it's also sort of a legacy of African-Americans in Charlotte that were displaced from other neighborhoods.
In many ways, he says, this side of the city was a safe haven for some. When areas like Brooklyn were razed by the teeth of urban renewal in the 60s, a process of clearing out what the government defined as slums to make way for better housing and businesses, many of the black people ended up there.
It was devastating. It was devastating. You could see the disappointment in the eyes of the children that had been living there. And, you know, they were over here, but that wasn't by their choice. They were forced.
The plans for the Queen City's growth of her kingdom, though, would also come at the expense of the West End. A growing expressway system, what's now parts of 77 and 277, would tear right through parts of some well-established areas, taking away schools and parks and displacing more than 240 families.
There was nothing about McCrory Heights that was worthy of being destroyed the way it was. I didn't realize that our parents had no power to stop that. I was shocked by that.
At a certain point, people had enough, and times changed as more opportunities opened up for blacks to live elsewhere.
We chose to live in the black community if we wanted to stay here, but a lot of people didn't want to stay here. They moved to other neighborhoods, other parts of town, and they still do.
When you look now, it's evident by the vacant lots and boarded up parts of town that when the money left, sometimes it never returned. That made certain areas void of opportunity and ripe for gentrification.
So not only do you have more white faces here, but you have younger people, millennials, moving into these neighborhoods.
In those places, many with views of uptown, property values have skyrocketed like the rest of Charlotte, pricing out some lifelong residents and creating a barrier of entry for those trying to get in.
I bought 2 lots for about $23,000.
What would those lots go for today?
Those 2 lots are right at about $1 million.
Jatanya Adams is the founder and executive director of the historic West End Partners, a nonprofit she says is aimed at preserving the culture while still bringing business opportunities back to the Beatty's Ford Road corridor, as she says, to ensure what happened in Brooklyn doesn't happen here.
And we wanted to make sure that Black Wall Street was not decimated again and that it was restored.
While Adams does that, at the same time, there's a movement growing to deal with wide-eyed developers who have their eyes on older homes and not so much on respecting the culture of the community.
I don't talk to them. I talk to the neighbors at whose houses they're trying to buy.
What do you tell them?
Tell them, do not sell.
And if they do sell, to make sure those coming in know the history. Simply put, it's a call for the community to take ownership of its past.
Dilworth preserves its history. Park Road preserves its history. Why can't we preserve ours?
In many ways, that's already starting to happen. Grant money is now being used to reconnect the areas 77 tore through. Businesses are also coming back. And so now it's a hope that places like these vacant lots and once bustling places like the Excelsior Club will be restored, so the legacy of the West End is never forgotten.
If we remember our roots, remember who we are, and strive to be a better us, nothing can stand against us.